99 Tech Tycoon abandoned his infertile wife. 5 years later, he spotted her with twins. He turned away from the window, his polished Oxfords clicking against marble as he walked to the kitchen island. A single espresso sat untouched, already cold. His assistant's voice echoed from the speakerphone on the counter. "Mr. Carter, the board is requesting your presence at the Q3 strategy meeting. They're concerned about your recent absences." Ethan didn't answer right away. He picked up the cup, stared into the black liquid like it held answers. "Tell them I'll be there," he finally said, voice low, flat. "And cancel my afternoon calls. All of them." Pause. Then carefully, "Sir, is everything all right?" He almost laughed. Almost. Define all right, Rachel. The silence on the other end told him she wouldn't dare. He ended the call with a tap. The penthouse felt too big now. Too quiet. Too empty. He walked to the bedroom. Their bedroom, though she hadn't slept in it for months. The king-sized bed was perfectly made. White linen, no wrinkles. No scent of her lavender oil. No stray hair on the pillow. No sketchbook tucked under the mattress. Nothing. He opened the walk-in closet. Her side was empty. Just a few wire hangers swaying slightly, as if mourning. He sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on knees, head in hands. His breathing was shallow, controlled. The way he'd trained himself to be since he was a kid, never show weakness, never crack, build, achieve, dominate. But now he felt like a ghost haunting his own life. His phone buzzed, a notification. He ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. Finally, he glanced. It was a photo from a tech gala last week. Him, smiling, champagne in hand, surrounded by investors, influencers, beautiful people. The caption, "Ethan Carter, the man who has it all." He swiped it away with such force the phone nearly flew off the bed. "Has it all?" He stood abruptly, pacing now, running fingers through his dark, slightly too long hair. 5 years. 5 years since he walked out. 5 years since he told her, in that sterile, sunlit kitchen, with the calm cruelty only heartbreak can fuel, "Clara, I love you, but I can't build a legacy with someone who can't give me children." He remembered the way her face changed, like someone had flicked a switch. The light in her eyes, that soft, golden warmth he used to drown in, just went out. She didn't cry, not then. She just nodded, once, slowly, as if she'd been expecting it, as if she'd known, deep down, that her body's betrayal would be the end of them. "So that's it," she'd whispered. "After 8 years, after everything, I'm disposable." He hadn't answered. He couldn't, because the truth was ugly. He had started seeing her as a glitch in his system. A beautiful, kind, brilliant glitch, but a glitch nonetheless. Something that couldn't compute with his vision of the future. Boardrooms, mansions, mini-MES running around with his eyes and her smile. But biology said no, and Ethan Carter didn't do no. He remembered the doctor's words, clinical and final. "Mrs. Carter, your condition is irreversible. Natural conception is impossible. Even with IVF, the chances are less than 2%. He remembered how Clara had gripped his hand under the table, how she'd looked at him, not with fear, but with hope. "We'll find another way. Adoption, surrogacy. There's always what?" "Clara," he'd snapped, voice sharp in the quiet office. "Always a compromise. I didn't marry you to settle. I married you because I thought you were my perfect match. In every way." She'd flinched, just slightly, but he saw it. That was the beginning of the end. He walked back to the living room, poured himself a whiskey, neat, no ice, and sank into the leather couch. The city lights blurred outside. He took a long sip. Burned. Good. He needed to feel something. His mind drifted to her laugh. The way she'd hum while painting. The way she'd tuck her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. The way she'd look at him when she thought he wasn't watching, like he was the whole damn sky. He'd thrown that away. For what? For an idea for a legacy that now felt like ash in his mouth. His phone buzzed again. This time, a text from his lawyer. "Ethan, the preliminary DNA results came back faster than expected. I'll send the full report tomorrow, but it's confirmed. 99.99%. They're yours. He stared at the screen. His throat tightened. His chest caved in. Twins. Twins. 4 years old. He stood so fast the glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the marble floor. Amber liquid spread like blood. He didn't care. He walked to the window again, pressing his palm against the cold glass. His breath fogged it. 5 years later, he spotted her with twins. The headline from the tabloid he'd seen yesterday flashed in his mind. Grainy photo. Her, radiant, hair in a messy bun, wearing faded jeans and a paint-splattered sweater, holding the hands of 2 small children, a boy and a girl, mirror images of each other, and of him. His knees buckled. He slid down the glass until he was sitting on the floor, back against the wall, head in his hands. He was sobbing. Not the quiet, controlled tears of a man who's lost a deal. This was raw, ugly, devastating. He cried for the way he'd looked at her the last time, with impatience, with dismissal. He cried for the nights she must have spent alone, wondering if she was broken. He cried for the birthdays he'd missed, the first steps, the first words, the scraped knees he never kissed better. He cried because he was the villain in her story. And now he was the stranger in his children's. The whiskey pooled near his feet. The city glittered, indifferent. Somewhere out there, Clara was tucking those babies into bed, reading them stories, singing lullabies, loving them with a fierceness he'd never allowed himself to understand. And he was here, alone, rich, empty. He lifted his head, eyes red, swollen, staring at his reflection in the dark glass. "Clara," he whispered, voice cracked and broken. "What have I done?" the silence answered. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in his life, Ethan Carter prayed. Not for success, not for power, but for a chance. Just one damn chance, to be worthy of them. The clock on the wall ticked. 1 minute, then another. Outside, the world kept turning. But inside that penthouse, in that moment, Ethan Carter died. And someone else, someone humbler, hungrier for redemption, terrified and trembling with hope, began to breathe. He didn't know how to be a father. He didn't know if she'd ever forgive him. But for the first time in 5 years, he wanted to try, not because they carried his DNA, but because they carried her heart. And that was worth more than all the empires in the world. Okay, now act as a narrator and storyteller. Develop the story without markings with the name of each topic that is developed. Tell me about topic 2 with dialogue as if I were the viewer, always remembering to develop with a lot of emotion, with a lot of feelings, so that the structure of the narrative uses a linear timeline so that the viewer feels what the character is feeling in English with 6,000 characters. Coin 3 max. Preview the rain tapped gently against the window pane. Soft, persistent, like a heartbeat refusing to fade. Inside the small, sun-warmed studio tucked above a used bookstore in Ashland, Oregon, Clara Rivers stood barefoot on worn wooden floors, her fingers tracing the curve of a half-finished canvas. The scent of turpentine and chamomile tea curled in the air. Classical music whispered from an old record player in the corner. Chopin, the way Ethan used to hate it. Too sad, he'd say. Too slow. She smiled faintly at the memory. Not with bitterness. Not anymore. Just acknowledgement. Like turning the page of a book you once loved but outgrew. Her reflection in the tall mirror leaned against the wall caught her eye. She paused. Looked. Really looked. Clara Bennett was gone. In her place stood Clara Rivers. Hair longer now. Sun-streaked from hours spent in gardens with children. Skin kissed by mountain air instead of fluorescent office lights. Her eyes, once shadowed with grief, now held a quiet glow. Not unbroken, no, but mended. Stitched together with time, therapy, and the stubborn refusal to let pain be the end of her story. She turned away from the mirror, wiping her hands on her paint-splattered apron. On the table beside her sat 2 small lunchboxes. Dinosaur stickers on one, butterflies on the other. Inside, peanut butter sandwiches cut into stars, apple slices, and little notes. Be brave today, Leo, and Luna, your magic. Mom! Her heart swelled every time she wrote those notes. Every time she tucked them into their bags. Every time she watched them skip out the door, backpacks bouncing, laughter ringing like wind chimes. Twins. Her miracles. Her redemption. Her defiance. She walked to the window, pressing her palm against the cool glass. Outside, the town was waking up. Cyclists pedaling past flower boxes, shopkeepers unlocking doors, an old man walking his golden retriever. Normalcy, peace, safety. 5 years ago, she couldn't have imagined this. 5 years ago, she was sitting in a cold, white doctor's office, Ethan's hand limp in hers, listening to words that felt like a death sentence. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Carter. Your AMH levels are critically low. Your ovaries show no viable follicles. Even with aggressive IVF, the likelihood of conception is less than 2%. I recommend you consider alternatives: adoption, donor eggs, surrogacy." She remembered how Ethan had squeezed her hand then, not comfortingly, tightly, like he was bracing for impact. "Alternatives," he'd repeated, voice clipped. "What does that even mean? We didn't marry to raise someone else's child, Clara." She'd looked at him, stunned. "They'd still be our child. Love doesn't need DNA, Ethan." He didn't answer, just stood, thanked the doctor, and walked out. That night, she'd cried into her pillow, muffling her sobs so he wouldn't hear. He'd slept on the couch. The next morning, he handed her a folder. "I've researched the top fertility clinics in the country. We start next week. We'll do whatever it takes." She'd hugged him, relieved, hopeful. But it wasn't hope in his eyes. It was determination, like she was a project, problem to be solved. Cycle after cycle, injection after injection. Hope raised, then crushed. Bills piled up. Her body ached, her spirit frayed. And Ethan, he grew colder, distant. Meetings ran late. Dinners were canceled. When they were together, conversation revolved around progress. Not her pain, not her fears, not the way she stared at baby clothes in stores and had to leave before she broke down. One night, after her third failed IVF, she found him in his study, typing furiously. "Ethan, I don't think I can do this anymore." He didn't look up. "We're not giving up. It's not giving up. It's listening to my body, to my heart." Finally, he turned. His eyes were hard. "Do you even want to be a mother, Clara, or are you just afraid of the pain?" The words hit like glass shattering in her chest. "How can you say that to me?" Her voice trembled. "You know how badly I want this. You've seen me cry after every negative test. You've held me when I bled from the hormones. How can you stand there and question my desire?" He stood, walked to the window. "Because I need to know you're all in. I can't build a future with half measures." She stared at him, the man she'd married, the boy who'd kissed her under fireworks, who'd whispered poetry into her hair, who'd promised to love her even if the world burned, was gone. In his place stood a stranger, a CEO evaluating risk. "And if I can't give you what you want," she whispered. He turned, looked at her, really looked. "Then I don't know if we have a future at all." She didn't sleep that night. She packed her bags the next morning. He didn't stop her. Now, years later, standing in her sunlit studio, she touched the locket around her neck. A simple silver oval, inside, 2 tiny photos, Leo and Luna, age 1, grinning with mashed banana on their cheeks. She'd chosen their names carefully. Leo for courage, Luna for light, everything she'd had to become to survive. Her phone buzzed on the table. A text from Sophia, her best friend, her angel, the woman who donated the eggs that gave her life. "Don't forget parent-teacher night tonight. Mrs. Green wants to talk about Leo's creative interpretations of math." Grinning face with sweat. "Also, I saw the news. He's in town." Clara's breath caught. Ethan. She'd seen the headlines too. Tech tycoon spotted in Portland, speaking at some innovation summit. She'd avoided downtown all week, changed her route to the market, told the kids they were having a home day yesterday when she saw his face on a billboard near the train station. She wasn't ready. She'd never be ready. But then her phone buzzed again. "Clara, he was at the park yesterday, near the duck pond. He saw them. Her knees buckled. She gripped the edge of the table, heart hammering against her ribs. He saw them, her babies, his babies. She closed her eyes, breathing through the panic, the rage, the old, familiar ache. She thought of Leo's laugh, loud, unapologetic, just like Ethan's. She thought of Luna's eyes, deep brown, thoughtful, just like his. She thought of the way they hugged her, so tight, like they were afraid she'd disappear. She wouldn't let him break them. She wouldn't let him break her again. A knock at the door. She startled. Mommy, Leo's voice, muffled through the wood. Can we come in? We made you a drawing. Her heart melted. She wiped her eyes quickly, smoothed her hair, and opened the door. There they were, her world. Leo in his dinosaur rain boots, Luna in her yellow raincoat, both holding soggy pieces of construction paper. Look, Mommy, we drew our family. Leo beamed. She took the papers. 2 stick figures, tall one labeled MOM, 2 small ones labeled Me and Me. Above them, a rainbow. Below, scribbled in Luna's careful letters, We love you most. Clara knelt, pulling them into a hug, breathing in the scent of rain and crayons and childhood. I love you most too, she whispered, voice thick. More than all the stars. Leo pulled back, frowning. Mommy, why are you sad? She forced a smile. I'm not sad, sweetheart. Just remembering something. Luna tilted her head. Is it about the man in the black car, the one who was staring at us yesterday? Clara froze. What man? She asked, too sharply. Luna shrugged. He was by the big tree. He had your eyes, Mommy. And he cried. Clara's breath left her. Ethan. He'd been watching. He'd cried. Her hands trembled as she smoothed Luna's hair. Some people cry when they're happy, baby, she said softly, voice barely holding. Or when they're sorry. Sorry for what? Leo asked. She looked at them, her miracles, her strength, her reason, and for the first time in 5 years, she felt not fear, but fire. He's sorry, she whispered. For leaving us. She stood, holding their hands tightly. But he doesn't get to come back just because he wants to. She kissed their foreheads. Now, who wants hot chocolate and extra marshmallows before school? Their cheers drowned out the storm in her chest. But inside she was bracing, because Ethan Carter was back. And this time she wouldn't break. She'd protect. She'd fight. And if he wanted to be part of their lives, he'd have to earn it. Not as a tycoon. Not as a biological accident. But as a man. A father. Worthy of the love she'd built from ashes. He had your eyes, Mommy. And he cried. Ethan. Here. Watching. Crying. She should have known he'd come. The moment she saw his face on that billboard, sharp jaw, deeper lines now, eyes shadowed like he hadn't slept in months. She knew it was only a matter of time. But she'd hoped, God, she'd hoped he'd stay away, that he'd see them from afar and walk away, guilt-ridden but distant, that he'd let them be. But no, he'd come closer. He'd watched, and now he knew. She turned slowly, forcing her face into calm, smiling, breathing. Be the mother they need, not the woman he broke. All right, adventurers, she called, voice light, steady. A performance honed over years of hiding tremors behind laughter. Umbrella goes to the tallest. That's you, Leo. Luna, you get the honor of holding Mommy's hand. Luna beamed. I always get the best job. Leo groaned but slung the umbrella over his shoulder like a knight's lance. Fine, but I get to open it if it rains again. Clara laughed, real this time, and ushered them out the door, locking it behind her with a click that felt too loud in the quiet morning. The walk to school was short, 3 blocks past Mrs. Henderson's rose garden, across the little stone bridge over Miller Creek, then up the hill where the maple trees arched like a cathedral. Clara held Luna's hand tightly. Leo marched ahead, stomping in puddles, narrating an epic battle between his boots and the mud monsters. She let him, let the normalcy wash over her, let the rhythm of their steps anchor her. But beneath the surface, her mind was a storm. What does he want? Why now? Does he know for sure the DNA test? It had to be done. He wouldn't risk confrontation without proof, which meant he'd already started digging, hired someone, found her, found them, her stomach twisted. She thought she was safe here, hidden, reborn. Clara Rivers, not Clara Carter, the broken wife who couldn't give her husband the one thing he demanded. Here, she was the woman who painted murals at the children's hospital, who taught toddlers to mix colors and name their feelings, who sang lullabies with her whole heart and kissed scraped knees like they were sacred. Here she was enough. And now Ethan, with his tailored suits and hollow eyes and billionaire regrets, threatened to drag her back into the past, to turn her children into a bargaining chip, a redemption arc for his public image. No, she squeezed Luna's hand tighter. Not happening. The schoolyard was alive with chatter, backpacks, and the smell of wet grass. Clara knelt to zip Leo's jacket. He'd undone it the second they left the house, and smoothed Luna's hair beneath her hood. "Have the best day," she whispered, kissing each forehead. "And remember, if anyone asks about the man at the park." Luna blinked. "What man?" Leo shrugged. "I don't remember any man." Clara's heart swelled with love and fear. They were so small, so trusting, so easily shattered. "Exactly," she said softly. "You didn't see anyone." "Okay," they nodded, distracted already by their friends running toward them. "I love you," she called as they sprinted off. "Love you most," they yelled back, not even turning. She watched until they disappeared through the double doors. Then she exhaled, long, shaky, like she'd been holding her breath for 5 years. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it, knew with cold certainty who it was. She answered. Silence. Then a breath. Ragged. Unsteady. "Clara." His voice. Lower now. Rougher. Thick with something she didn't want to name. She didn't speak. Couldn't. Her throat had closed. "I saw them," he whispered. "At the park. Yesterday. I didn't mean to scare them. I needed to see. To know it was real." She closed her eyes. Rain began to fall again, soft, misty. She didn't move. "They're beautiful," he said, voice cracking. "Luna, she has your smile. Leo, he laughs like I used to. Before you became a monster." She still didn't speak. "Clara, please, say something. Anything." She opened her eyes, looked up at the gray sky, let the rain kiss her cheeks. "What do you want?" Ethan, her voice was quiet, cold, not angry, worse, detached. The voice of a woman who had buried her love and wasn't about to dig it up for him. Pause. Then, "I want to meet them, properly, not from a distance, not hiding behind trees. I want to say hello, as their father." Her stomach dropped. "You lost that right," she said, each word a blade. "The day you walked out. The day you told me I wasn't enough. The day you made me feel like a failure for something my body didn't choose." "I know," he choked out. "God, Clara, I know. I was cruel. I was blind. I was terrified. I thought if I couldn't control this, if I couldn't fix it, then I wasn't a man, wasn't worthy. I took it out on you, and I will spend the rest of my life regretting it." She laughed, sharp, bitter. "Good. You should. But they're mine, Clara. I saw the dates. I did the math. I hired a... Don't." Her voice cracked like ice. "Don't you dare turn this into a legal game. Don't you dare drag them through courts and DNA tests and headlines. They're 4 years old, Ethan. They think rainbows live in puddles and monsters can be defeated with stuffed animals. They don't deserve your guilt. Or your greed." "It's not greed." His voice rose, desperate. It's them. I look at Leo and I see my father's grin. I look at Luna and I see my mother's kindness. I look at them and I see you, the woman I loved before I became a fool. They're the only thing in my life that feels real." She turned away, walking blindly down the sidewalk, rain soaking through her sweater. "You don't get to say that," she whispered. "You don't get to look at them and feel something now. You had years. You chose to leave. You chose your legacy over our family." "I was wrong." His voice broke. "I was so wrong. Please, Just let me see them. Once. I'll do whatever you say. Supervised. Silent. I'll sit in the corner like a ghost. Just let me be near them. She stopped walking, closed her eyes. The silence stretched. Then, tomorrow, 4 p.m., the little blue cafe on Maple. You sit at the back. You don't speak unless spoken to. You don't touch them. You don't call them son or daughter. You don't cry in front of them. You smile. You're calm. You're normal. Clara, if you break a single rule, she said, voice steel wrapped in silk, you'll never see them again, and I will move so far off the grid. Even your money won't find us. A long pause, then, barely a whisper, thank you. She hung up. The rain fell harder now. She didn't care. She walked to her car, opened the door, and sat in the driver's seat, trembling. She didn't cry. Not yet. Because tomorrow, she'd have to look into her children's eyes and lie. That man, oh, he's just a friend of Mommy's from a long time ago. And Ethan, he'd have to sit there, the architect of her greatest pain, and pretend he wasn't drowning in the sight of the two small humans who carried his blood and her soul. She gripped the steering wheel. This wasn't a reunion. This was a reckoning. And Clara Rivers, she was no longer the woman who begged for love. She was the mother who would burn the world to protect it. That night, after tucking Leo and Luna into bed, after reading the Gruffalo twice, after kissing their foreheads, after whispering, I love you most into their sleepy ears, she sat on the edge of her bathtub, knees pulled to her chest, and finally let the tears come. Quiet, violent, healing. She cried for the girl who believed love was enough. She cried for the wife who thought she could fix him. She cried for the mother who had to be strong when she wanted to scream. And when the tears ran dry, she stood, washed her face, looked in the mirror, and whispered, you've got this. Because tomorrow, she'd face the ghost of her past. And she'd make damn sure he knew her children were not his redemption. She remembered the way Ethan used to sigh when she talked too long about her students, the way he'd glance at his watch during dinner, the way he stopped touching her. Not all at once, but slowly, like a tide pulling back, leaving her stranded on cold, dry sand. And then, the final blow. I can't build a future with someone who can't give me children. She'd replayed that sentence 1,000 times. In the shower, in the car, while stirring soup, while rocking Luna to sleep. Each time it cut deeper, not because it was cruel, though it was, but because it was true. To him, in his world of metrics and milestones, she had become a liability, a broken system, a failed prototype. She rolled onto her side, curling around the pillow, pressing it against her chest like armor. Tomorrow, he would be there, in her world, at her cafe, with her children. Her breath hitched. She sat up, swung her legs over the edge of the bed, bare feet meeting cold wood. She walked to the window. The street was quiet. A lone car passed, headlights slicing through the dark like a blade. She wrapped her arms around herself. What if he broke the rules? What if he reached for them? What if Leo, sweet, impulsive Leo, ran to him, charmed by his smile, his height, his deep voice that sounded like a storybook king? What if Luna, quiet, observant Luna, looked into his eyes and whispered, you feel like home, mister? Clara's hands trembled. She wouldn't survive that. Not emotionally, not spiritually. She walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water, drank it too fast, set the glass down with a clink that echoed too loud in the silence. Her phone lay on the counter, dark, silent. She picked it up, opened her messages, stared at the last one she'd sent him. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., the little blue cafe on Maple. You sit at the back. You don't speak unless spoken to. You don't touch them. You don't call them son or daughter. You don't cry in front of them. You smile. You're calm. You're normal. She'd meant every word. But now she wondered if she'd made a mistake. Too late. She set the phone down, walked to the fridge, opened it, closed it, paced, stopped, looked at the clock. 2:47 a.m. She exhaled. sat at the kitchen table, pulled out a notebook, the one with the sunflower cover Luna had painted for her birthday, flipped to a blank page, and began to write. If he asks where they were born, say Portland. Don't mention the clinic. Don't mention Sophia. Don't mention the donor. He doesn't need to know. Not yet. Maybe not ever. If Leo asks why he's staring, say he's just amazed by how smart you are. If Luna asks why he looks sad, say some grown-ups carry heavy hearts. And that's okay. If he tries to buy them gifts, say no. Politely, firmly. If he cries, turn away. Shield them. Protect the magic. She wrote until her hand cramped, until the sky outside began to blush pink, until the house stirred with small, sleepy sounds. Leo mumbling in his sleep, Luna's soft footsteps padding toward the bathroom. She closed the notebook, tucked it into the drawer, washed her face, made pancakes, smiled. By 3:50 p.m., the cafe was buzzing. The little blue teapot, with its mismatched mugs, chalkboard menu, and smell of cinnamon and espresso, was packed with moms, toddlers, retirees, and students. Clara sat at a corner table near the window, Leo and Luna beside her, coloring furiously in their activity books. She dressed them in their favorite outfits, Leo in his rocket ship t-shirt, Luna in her twirly skirt with stars. She wanted them to feel safe, to feel like themselves. She wanted him to see them, not as his biological claim, but as hers. Whole, loved, untouchable. At 3:58 p.m., the bell above the door chimed. Clara didn't look up. She heard it, though. The pause, the sharp intake of breath, the slow, hesitant footsteps. She kept her eyes on Luna's drawing. A purple cat riding a rainbow. Mommy, look, Mr. Whiskers has a jetpack now. I see, baby. He's very fancy. Leo tugged her sleeve. Can I have extra syrup? Yes, but only if you promise not to turn into a sticky monster. He grinned. No promises. She laughed, forced it, real enough. Then he was there, standing beside the table. She looked up, and the world stopped. Ethan. He looked broken, not in a dramatic way. No torn suit, no wild eyes, just hollow, like someone had scooped out his insides and left the shell. His hair was shorter, grayer at the temples. His suit, charcoal, expensive, perfectly tailored, hung on him like it didn't fit anymore. His hands clenched at his sides, white-knuckled. His eyes locked onto Leo first, then Luna, and in that second Clara saw it. The recognition, the awe, the devastation. Leo looked up. Who's that? Mommy. Luna tilted her head. He looks like the man from the park. Clara's pulse roared in her ears. She smiled, calm, controlled. Kids, this is Ethan, an old friend of mine. From a long time ago. Ethan opened his mouth, probably to say, I'm your father. But Clara's gaze cut him like a knife. He swallowed, nodded, voice barely above a whisper. Hi. Leo squinted. Are you rich? Clara choked on her coffee. Ethan blinked. Then, miracle of miracles, he chuckled. Soft, real. I used to think so. Luna studied him. You look sad. Clara's heart stopped. Ethan crouched slightly, not too close, not touching, just enough to be at their level. Sometimes I am, he admitted, voice gentle. But seeing you too, that helps. Leo grinned. We're good at helping. Luna gave a cookie to a crying kid at school yesterday. Luna beamed. He was sad because his goldfish died. Ethan's eyes glistened. He looked at Clara. A silent plea. Can I? She gave the tiniest nod. He turned back to them. That was very kind of you, Luna. She shrugged. Mommy says sadness needs snacks. Ethan laughed. A real startled sound. And for a heartbeat, Clara saw the man she fell in love with. The one who used to laugh with his whole chest. Terrified her. Sit down, Ethan, she said, voice light but firm. Coffee's on me. Black, no sugar. Just how you like it. He sat. Didn't touch the mug. She slid toward him. Just watched the children. Leo started telling him about his epic battle with the mud monster. Luna showed him her drawing. He listened, nodded, asked questions. What's Mr. Whisker's favorite planet? Does the mud monster have a weakness? He didn't reach out, didn't try to hug them, didn't call them son or daughter. He followed the rules. And that scared Clara more than if he'd broken them. Because this Ethan, this quiet, trembling, humble Ethan, she didn't know how to fight him. At 4:45 p.m., Clara stood. All right, adventurers, time to go. Art class starts in 15. Leo groaned. Already Luna looked at Ethan. Will you come next time? Clara's blood turned to ice. Ethan looked at her, eyes begging. Please, just one more minute. She hesitated. Then, maybe, she said softly. If you're very good. His face lit up, not with triumph but with gratitude, like she'd handed him water in the desert. He stood, didn't move toward them, just bowed his head slightly. Thank you, he whispered. For today. She nodded, took Leo's hand. Luna's, walked away, didn't look back. In the car, Leo chattered about the nice tall man. Luna asked if he'd come to her ballet recital. Clara answered in monosyllables. Her hands gripped the steering wheel too tight. She pulled into the driveway, turned off the engine, sat in silence. Then, Mommy, she looked in the rearview mirror. Luna's eyes were wide, worried. Are you okay? Clara turned, forced a smile. I'm fine, baby. Leo frowned. You look like you did when the blender broke. She laughed, shaky, real. I'm just thinking. Luna unbuckled, climbed into the front seat, and hugged her. It's okay to be sad sometimes. Sadness needs snacks and hugs. Clara held her tight, closed her eyes, and for the first time in 5 years she let herself cry. Not for the past, not for Ethan, but for the terrifying, beautiful, fragile now. Because tomorrow he'd be back, and next time he might not follow the rules. And Clara, she wasn't sure she could stop him. Not when he looked at her children like they were the only stars left in his sky. Not when part of her, the part she hated, the part that still remembered his laugh, his hands, his promises, wondered, what if he's changed? What if he stays? What if we let him? She buried her face in Luna's hair and whispered into the quiet, God help me, because the battle wasn't coming. It was already here. And the first shot. Clara sat on the edge of Luna's bed, watching her, just watching, memorizing the way her daughter's fingers twitched in sleep, probably chasing butterflies in some dream. She brushed a strand of hair from Luna's forehead, so gently it barely stirred the air. Then she stood, walked to the hallway, closed the door halfway, and collapsed against the wall. Her knees gave out. She slid down until she was sitting on the floor, back pressed to the cool plaster, arms wrapped around herself like she could hold the pieces together. She didn't cry, not yet. She just breathed. In. Ethan's face wouldn't leave her. The way he looked at Leo, like he was seeing a miracle. The way his voice cracked when he said, sometimes I am sad. The way he didn't reach, didn't push, didn't claim. The way he listened. That was the worst part. Because the Ethan she remembered, he never listened. He solved. He fixed. He commanded. He bent the world to his will. This man sat like a beggar at her table. And that was dangerous. Because it made her wonder. What if he's really changed? What if he stays? What if he loves them? She squeezed her eyes shut. No, she whispered to the empty hallway. No, no, no. Don't you dare soften. Don't you dare hope. She stood abruptly, walked to her bedroom, and locked the door behind her. Then she pulled out her phone, scrolled to Sophia's number, pressed call. It rang once, twice. Then, you saw him. Not a question, a statement. Clara exhaled, long, shaky. Yeah, I saw him. He saw them. He followed the rules. Sophia was silent for a beat. Then softly, and that's what scares you. Clara walked to the window, pressed her forehead against the glass. The night was clear now. Stars blinked overhead, indifferent. He looked at them like he was seeing heaven for the first time, like they were the answer to every prayer he never knew he made. Clara Sophia's voice was gentle but firm. You knew this day would come. You prepared for it. You're strong. You're their mother. Nothing he does can take that away. Clara's throat tightened. What if he doesn't want to take it away? What if he just wants to be part of it? What if he's good? Then you let him be part of it on your terms. You set the boundaries. You hold the power. He doesn't get to waltz in and rewrite your story just because he finally grew a conscience. Clara closed her eyes. He cried soft in the car. After I dropped the kids off, I looked in the rearview mirror and I saw him standing there, still in the cafe parking lot, just crying, like his heart was breaking all over again. Good, Sophia said, no pity in her voice. Let him cry. Let him feel every ounce of what he threw away. He doesn't get a medal for showing up 5 years late with tears in his eyes. He gets a chair in the back. Supervised visits. 0 privileges. You hear me? Clara nodded, even though Sophia couldn't see her. I hear you. And Clara, if he asks about me, about the clinic, about the donor, Clara's breath caught. He will. You tell him the truth when you decide he's ready. Not because he demands it. Not because he cries. Because you choose to give it to him. That's your power. That's your control. Clara swallowed. What if he finds out on his own? Then you lawyer up. You go nuclear. You remind him that legally, emotionally, spiritually, those children are yours. He walked away. He signed the papers. He erased himself. Biology doesn't erase that. Clara turned from the window, walked to her bed, and sank onto the edge. I don't want to hurt them, Soph. I don't want them to feel torn. I don't want them to love him, and then lose him again. Then you teach them the truth slowly, gently. You tell them that families come in all shapes, that love isn't about blood. It's about showing up. Every day, even when it's hard. Clara wiped her eyes. What if he does show up? What if he's consistent? Then you watch. You wait. You test him. You see if he's here for them or for his own redemption. And if it's the latter, Sophia's voice hardened. You cut him off. Clean. Fast. No second chances. Clara nodded again. Okay. You're not alone in this, Clara. I'm here. My lawyer's on speed dial. The clinic has your records sealed tighter than Fort Knox. He can't touch you unless you let him. Clara took a deep breath. Let it out. Thank you. Always. Now go to bed. Tomorrow's another day. And you're a warrior. Don't forget that. Clara ended the call, set the phone down, stared at the ceiling. Then she stood, walked to her closet, and pulled out a small wooden box from the top shelf. Inside 2 things. A faded ultrasound photo, twins, tiny beans, barely visible. The date March 12th, 5 years ago. And a letter, sealed, addressed to Leo and Luna, to be opened when you're older. She hadn't written it yet, but she would. Tonight, she sat at her desk, turned on the lamp, pulled out a sheet of thick, cream-colored paper, and began to write. My dearest Leo and Luna, if you're reading this, it means you're old enough to understand that love isn't always simple, that families aren't always born. Sometimes they're chosen. Sometimes they're fought for. Sometimes they're rebuilt from ashes. You were my miracle, my defiance, my greatest act of courage. When the world told me I couldn't be a mother, I said, watch me. And then your father came back. Not the man who left, not the ghost who haunted my dreams, but someone new, someone broken, someone trying. I don't know how this story ends. Maybe he becomes the dad you deserve. Maybe he walks away again. Maybe he stays quietly, humbly, earning his place one day at a time. But no matter what, you are mine, in my heart, in my soul, in every breath I take. And I will never, ever let anyone, not even him, make you feel less than whole. Love always, Mom. She folded the letter, slid it into the envelope, sealed it, wrote their names on the front in her careful script. Then she placed it back in the box and tucked the box away. The next morning, Clara woke before the sun. She made pancakes again, smiled too wide, laughed too loud. When Leo asked if the tall man was coming today, she said, not today, sweetheart. When Luna asked why he was sad, Clara knelt and looked her in the eyes. Some people take a long time to learn how to love the right way. He's still learning, and that's okay. We can be patient, as long as he's trying. Luna nodded solemnly. Like when I was learning to tie my shoes. Clara kissed her forehead. Exactly like that. At noon, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it. "Nu," she answered. "Clara." His voice. Rough, quiet, like he hadn't slept. "I won't come today. Or tomorrow. I'll wait. Until you say it's okay." She didn't speak. I needed you to know that. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to break your rules. I want to be near them. However you let me." She closed her eyes. "Why, Ethan, why now after all this time?" A long pause. Then, so soft she almost didn't hear it. "Because I looked into Leo's eyes, and I saw the man I could have been. And I looked into Luna's, and I saw the woman I failed. And I realized I don't want to be the villain in their story. I want to be someone they're proud of, even if it takes the rest of my life." Her breath caught. "You don't get to decide that," she whispered. "They do." "I know," he said, "and I'll wait, however long it takes." She hung up, walked to the window, watched the clouds drift, and for the first time in 5 years she didn't feel fear. She felt power. Because Ethan Carter, he was no longer the man who abandoned her. He was the man begging for scraps. And Clara Rivers, she held the feast. Let him wait. Let him learn. Let him earn it. Because her children, they deserved more than a father who showed up late with tears and apologies. They deserved a father who stayed. And she'd make damn sure he knew the difference. But beneath the surface she was bracing. Waiting. Watching. Ethan didn't come back to the cafe. He didn't call. He didn't text. For 7 days, silence. And then, on the 8th morning, a small, cream-colored envelope appeared in her mailbox. No return address. Just her name, Clara Rivers, written in handwriting she hadn't seen in 5 years. Sharp, precise, elegant. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside, a single sheet of thick, expensive paper. No letter, just 3 lines. "I enrolled in a parenting class. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. I sold my penthouse. Moving to Portland next week. I'm not asking for anything. Just letting you know I'm trying. No signature. No plea. No, please forgive me. Just facts. Quiet. Humble. Devastating." She read it 3 times, then folded it carefully, tucked it into the wooden box with the ultrasound and the sealed letter. Didn't tell the kids. Didn't tell Sophia. Just carried it with her, like a secret weight. That night, after tucking Leo and Luna in, after Leo's dramatic retelling of his battle with the broccoli dragon, and Luna's whispered request for one more hug, "Mommy, just one more," Clara sat on the edge of her bathtub again, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the wall. She didn't cry. She didn't rage. She just sat, thinking, remembering, the night she found out she was pregnant. She'd been curled on the bathroom floor of her tiny Ashland apartment, shaking, alone, staring at the second line on the test like it was a mirage. She'd taken 3 more. Same result. Impossible. Miraculous. Terrifying. She'd called Sophia at 3 a.m. "It's positive. Clara, are you sure?" the doctors said. "I know what they said, but it's happening. I don't know how. I don't care how. It's happening." Sophia had shown up at her door an hour later, pajamas under her coat, eyes wide with awe and fear. "What are you going to do?" Clara had looked at her, tears streaming, voice steady. "I'm going to be a mother." No hesitation, no doubt, just resolve. She'd never told Ethan, never planned to. She'd chosen life. Not for him, not for legacy, not for redemption, but for herself. For the child or children growing inside her. For the future she refused to let him steal. And then, the ultrasound. Twins. 2 heartbeats. 2 tiny flickers on the screen. She'd sobbed so hard the nurse had to pause the scan. "They're strong," the technician had said gently. "Really strong." Clara had whispered, "Of course they are. They're mine." Now, sitting in the quiet dark, She touched her stomach. Flat now, but forever changed. She thought of Ethan's note. I sold my penthouse. He'd walked away from everything. The skyline, the boardrooms, the empire he'd built to fill the hole she'd left. For them or for himself, she didn't know. Didn't trust it. But she stood, walked to her closet, pulled out the wooden box again, opened it, stared at the ultrasound. Then slowly, she pulled out her phone, dialed Sophia. He's moving to Portland. What? He left a note. Said he sold his penthouse. Enrolled in parenting classes. A long pause. Damn him, Sophia muttered. He's playing the long game. Or he's serious. Clara, I know he could be manipulating. I know he could vanish again. I know I'm risking everything. Then why are you even considering it? Clara looked at the ultrasound, at the tiny, flickering hearts. Because they deserve to know him. Not the ghost, not the villain, but the man he's trying to become. Even if he fails, they deserve the truth. On their terms, when they're ready. And are you ready? Clara closed her eyes. No, but I'm their mother. And that means doing the hard things, even when I'm terrified. The next morning, she woke early, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and wrote a letter, not to Ethan, to herself. Dear Clara, you are not the woman he left. You are not broken. You are not defined by his absence. You are the storm that carried life through fire. You are the hands that built a home from silence. You are the voice that taught them to sing when the world told you to scream. You are enough. You always were. And no matter what he does, whether he stays or leaves, whether he breaks or heals, you will still be their mother, their safe place, their whole world. Hold that truth tighter than any fear. And if he earns the right to stand beside you, then let him. But never, never let him stand in front of you. You guard the gate. You hold the key. And you are unbreakable. She folded it, slid it into the box, closed the lid. That afternoon, she took Leo and Luna to the park. The same duck pond, the same big oak tree where Ethan had stood, crying, watching. She didn't plan it. It just happened. Leo raced ahead, chasing a squirrel. Luna held her hand, swinging it gently. Mommy, do you think the tall man will come back? Clara's breath caught. Why do you ask? Baby Luna shrugged. He looked lonely. Clara's heart cracked. Sometimes grown-ups get lonely when they make mistakes. Can we help him? Clara stopped walking, knelt in front of Luna, looked into her eyes so much like Ethan's, so much like hers. We can be kind. We can be patient. But we don't have to fix him, Luna. That's his job. Our job is to be happy, to be safe, to be loved. Okay, Luna nodded solemnly. Okay, but can we give him a cookie next time sadness needs snacks? Clara laughed, real, warm, watery. Yeah, baby, we can give him a cookie. They were feeding the ducks when she saw him, across the pond, standing beneath the oak tree, not hiding, not watching, just there, hands in his pockets, shoulders slumped, eyes on the water. He hadn't seen them yet. Clara's pulse roared. She could turn, walk away, pretend she didn't see him, but Luna tugged her hand. Mommy, it's him. Leo turned. The tall man, and before Clara could stop them, they ran, straight toward him. Leo shouting, Mister, look, I can skip stones now. Luna waving. We brought cookies. Clara's heart stopped. She didn't move, couldn't. Ethan looked up, saw them. His face, his face shattered. Joy, fear, awe, terror, all at once. He dropped to one knee as they reached him. Didn't touch them, just smiled. Hey, adventurers. Leo beamed. Watch this. He grabbed a flat stone, whipped it across the water, skipped once, twice, 3 times. Ethan clapped. That's amazing. Luna held out a cookie. Sadness needs snacks. Ethan's eyes filled. He took the cookie, whispered, Thank you. Then slowly, he looked up at Clara, standing there, watching, waiting. She didn't smile, didn't frown, just nodded. And in that gnawed permission, not forgiveness, not trust, but a beginning. He stood, walked toward her, stopped an arm's length away. I wasn't stalking, I swear. I just needed to see the pond, the tree, the place where I first saw them. She studied him, the shadows under his eyes, the way his suit, rumpled now, no tie, looked like he'd slept in it, the way his hands trembled slightly at his sides. You're really moving here, he nodded. Found a small apartment, near the children's museum, and the park. And you. She didn't flinch. Parenting class going well, a faint smile. I cried during the managing tantrums lecture. The instructor patted my shoulder and said, "You'll be fine, Dad." I almost collapsed. Clara's breath hitched. "Don't call yourself that. Not yet." He nodded. "I know." Silence. Then, "Can I walk with you just to the car?" I won't speak. I won't touch them. I just want to be near them. One more time. Today. She looked at Leo, showing Ethan how to skip stones. At Luna, chattering about ducks and rainbows. At the way Ethan watched them, not like a tycoon assessing assets, but like a man seeing miracles. She exhaled. "One block, then you go." He nodded. "Thank you." They walked, side by side, not touching, not speaking, just present. And for the first time in 5 years, Clara didn't feel the past dragging her under. She felt the future, fragile, terrifying, beautiful, unfolding. One step, one breath, one cookie at a time. That night, after the kids were asleep, she stood at her window again, watched the stars. He'd moved in 3 days ago, sold the penthouse in under a week. No negotiation, no sentimental pause. Just signed the papers, handed over the keys, walked out without looking back. His assistant had cried. His CFO had asked if he was having a mental breakdown. His lawyer had quietly updated his will. He hadn't cared, because for the first time in his life, Ethan Carter wasn't building an empire. He was trying to build a soul. He walked to the window, smaller than the ones in San Francisco, framed by old oak trees instead of steel towers. From here, he could see the edge of Miller Creek, the path Clara took to school, the bench where she sometimes sat with Leo and Luna after class, eating ice cream, laughing at nothing. He'd watched them from afar, 3 times, always hidden, always silent. Once, Luna had pointed in his direction and said something to Clara. Clara had looked straight at him and held his gaze for 3 full seconds before turning away. She knew. She always knew. He exhaled, fogging the glass. His phone buzzed. "Class tonight, 7 p.m. Don't be late. And Ethan, wear the dinosaur shirt Leo gave you. He'll ask." "Sophia." He smiled faintly. Leo had shoved the shirt into his hands last week. Bright green, with a T-Rex roaring across the front. "So you look cool at your class, mister." He'd worn it to bed that night, slept in it, like a child clinging to a security blanket. He walked to the bedroom, unpacked box number 7, pulled out the shirt, folded it neatly on the bed. Then he sat beside it and let himself remember. 5 years ago, the night he left, he'd packed a single suitcase, didn't look at her, didn't say goodbye, just stood in the doorway of their bedroom, back turned, voice flat. "The divorce papers will be sent to your lawyer. I've transferred half the assets to your account. You'll want to find a new place, quickly." Clara hadn't moved from the bed, hadn't cried, hadn't screamed, just whispered, "Is there someone else?" He'd flinched. Not because it was true, it wasn't, but because the question cut deeper than any accusation. "No," he'd said, "there's no one else. There's just no future." She'd nodded, once, slow, then go. He'd walked out, didn't look back, didn't hear her break, but he knew. He'd felt it like a seismic shift in the universe, like the ground cracking beneath him. He'd driven to his office, poured himself 3 fingers of whiskey, sat in the dark, and for the first time in his life he'd felt nothing. No triumph, no relief, just emptiness. He'd built a billion-dollar company by 30, but he'd destroyed the only thing that made him feel human. Now he sat in an empty apartment, wearing sweatpants and a dinosaur shirt, scrolling through photos on his phone, stolen moments. Leo laughing with chocolate on his nose. Luna twirling in her star skirt. Clara kneeling beside them, sunlight in her hair, smiling like she'd finally found peace. Without him, he closed his eyes, pressed the phone to his chest, and whispered, "I'm sorry," not to the room, not to the past, to them, to the children who didn't know his name, to the woman who'd learned to live without his love. The parenting class was held in the basement of the community center. Fluorescent lights, plastic chairs, a whiteboard with "managing big feelings, yours and theirs," scrawled in blue marker. He was the only man, the only one in a dinosaur shirt. He sat in the back, didn't speak, just listened. "Children don't need perfect parents," the instructor said, a warm-eyed woman named Marla. "They need present parents, the ones who show up even when they're scared, even when they don't know what to do." Ethan's throat tightened. "And sometimes," Marla continued, "the hardest part isn't calming them down, it's calming yourself down. Because your child's tantrum, it's not about you. It's about their nervous system screaming, 'I need you to hold me until the storm passes.'" Ethan's vision blurred. He thought of Clara holding Leo through nightmares, singing to Luna when she was sick, wiping tears without flinching. She'd been their harbor. He'd been nothing. "If you're here," Marla said, scanning the room, "it means you're trying, and that's enough. For today, for now. Show up, breathe, try again tomorrow." Ethan nodded, didn't trust himself to speak. After class, he walked home slowly, stopped at the little grocery store, bought milk, bananas, peanut butter, and on impulse, a box of star-shaped cookies, Luna's favorite. He stood in the cereal aisle, staring at the box, heart pounding. Too much too soon, he bought them anyway. Back at the apartment, he placed the cookies on the counter, sat at the tiny kitchen table, opened his laptop, typed "Letter to Leo and Luna, draft number 1. He stared at the blank page, tried to write, "Dear Leo and Luna, I don't know if I'll ever get to say this to your faces, but I need you to know, you are the most beautiful things that have ever happened to me. Even though I didn't deserve you, even though I walked away before I knew you existed, I'm trying to be better. For you, for your mom, for me. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope one day you'll let me be part of your story, even if it's just a footnote. Love, the man who's learning to be your dad." He deleted it. Too much, too heavy, too desperate. He closed the laptop, picked up the cookies, walked to the window, watched the street, waited. The next morning, he saw them, Clara, Leo, Luna, walking to school. Leo was hopping on one foot. Luna was swinging Clara's hand. Ethan's breath caught. He didn't move, didn't wave, just watched. Then Luna stopped, looked up, pointed. "Mommy!" It's the tall man. In the window. Clara looked up, met his eyes, held them. Then slowly she smiled. Not a big smile, not a welcoming smile, but a seeing smile. She nodded, just once, then turned back to the kids, kept walking. Ethan exhaled, shaky, relieved, terrified. He looked down, saw the cookies in his hand, ran downstairs, barefoot, in pajama pants. He caught up to them at the corner. "Clara," she turned. Leo grinned. "Mister, you're wearing the dinosaur shirt." Luna gasped. "And you have cookies." Ethan crouched, handed the box to Luna. "For sadness, and for bravery." Luna beamed. "Thank you." Clara watched him, eyes unreadable. "You didn't have to." "I know," he said softly. "I wanted to." Silence. Then, parenting class. "Yeah, I cried during Feelings 101. The instructor gave me a sticker." Clara almost smiled. "Almost. Good." He stood, looked at Leo. "Skip stones with me after school," Leo hooped. "Yes." Luna tugged Clara's sleeve. "Can he come to my ballet recital next Friday?" Clara's breath hitched. Ethan froze, didn't dare look at her. "Only if Mommy says yes," he whispered. All eyes turned to Clara. She looked at Luna, hopeful, sparkling, trusting. Looked at Leo, bouncing on his toes, already planning their stone-skipping strategy. Looked at Ethan, waiting, trembling, terrified. She exhaled. One row back. No flowers. No photos. You leave when it's over. No talking to them after. Just watch. Ethan's eyes filled. Thank you. She nodded, took Leo's hand. Luna's. Walked away. Ethan stood there, holding nothing, feeling everything. That night, he sat on the floor of his empty apartment, leaning against the wall, staring at the ceiling, whispering to the dark. I'm here. I'm trying. I'm not leaving. However long it takes, however hard it is, I'm staying. Because for the first time, he wasn't running from the wreckage. He was learning to rebuild it. One cookie, one skipped stone, one whispered thank you at a time. And somewhere, just down the street, two small hearts were learning to trust him. And one fierce, broken, beautiful woman, she was learning to let him try. His phone buzzed. She's nervous. Luna, not about dancing, about you being there. Sophia. His stomach dropped. What do I do? Nothing. Just be there. Quiet. Still. Let her see you're safe. He exhaled, nodded to no one. Okay. By 3:45 p.m., he was outside the community theater. Small, brick, ivy crawling up the walls. Parents clustered under umbrellas. Kids in glittery costumes darting between legs, squealing, nervous, radiant. He stood apart, near the oak tree, hands in pockets, damp collar sticking to his neck. He didn't go in. Not yet. Just watched. Then there they were. Clara holding Luna's hand. Luna in a pale blue tutu, hair pinned up with tiny silver stars, face pale but determined. Leo bouncing beside them in his rocket ship shirt, waving wildly at friends. Ethan's breath caught. Luna looked fragile, glorious, terrified. She scanned the crowd, found him, froze. Clara squeezed her hand, whispered something. Luna nodded, took a deep breath, kept walking. Ethan didn't move, didn't smile, didn't wave, just stood, solid, still, safe. Luna glanced back once, then disappeared inside. He waited 10 minutes, walked in, sat in the second-to-last row, far left, as promised. The theater was warm, smelled of hairspray and little girl sweat. The lights dimmed, a hush fell, then music, soft, twinkling, and there she was, officer center stage, tiny, glowing. She didn't dance perfectly, missed a step, almost tripped, but she didn't stop, didn't cry, just kept going, arms wide, face lifted, eyes closed like she was flying. And in that moment, Ethan saw Clara. The same quiet courage, the same stubborn grace. He didn't realize he was crying until the tear hit his hand. He didn't wipe it away, let it fall, let it be. The recital ended. Applause thundered. Parents surged toward the stage, cameras flashing, voices loud, proud, chaotic. Ethan stood, didn't move forward, didn't call her name, just watched. Luna scanned the crowd again, found him, smiled, small, shy, but real. He smiled back, didn't move, didn't speak, just nodded. You were perfect. She beamed, turned away, ran into Clara's arms. Clara held her tight, whispered something in her ear. Luna nodded, still glowing. Then Clara looked up, met his eyes, across the room, through the noise, through the years, through the wreckage. And for the first time she smiled. Not a polite smile, not a cautious smile, a real one, warm, soft, grateful. He nodded back, turned, walked out, didn't look back. Rain had started again. He stood under the awning, collar turned up, heart pounding like it might break free. His phone buzzed. She asked about you, Clara. His breath hitched. What did she say? She said, Mommy, he didn't take pictures. He didn't yell. He just watched, like he was holding me with his eyes. Ethan closed his eyes, leaned against the wall. I know. Silence. Then, thank you. for following the rules. Always. He ended the call, walked home in the rain, didn't care that he was soaked, didn't care that his shoes squelched, didn't care that his apartment was empty, because for the first time in 5 years he didn't feel alone. That night, he sat at his kitchen table, opened his laptop, started a new document. Letter to Luna. Draft number 1. Dear Luna, I saw you dance today. You were brave. You were beautiful. You were everything good in this world. I didn't take pictures because I wanted to hold the moment in my heart, not on a screen. I didn't cheer because I didn't want to distract you. I just watched, and I held you with my eyes, because that's all I'm allowed right now. And it's enough. More than enough. I'm so proud of you. The man who's learning to be your dad, he saved it. Didn't send it. Didn't print it. Just kept it. The next morning, he woke to a knock. Soft. Hesitant. He opened the door. Luna stood there, in her pajamas, holding a drawing. Clara stood behind her, arms crossed, expression unreadable, but her eyes soft. Watching. Waiting. Luna held up the paper. I made this for you. Ethan knelt, took it. It was a stick figure, tall, with a green dinosaur shirt, standing under a rainbow. Beside him, a smaller stick figure in a tutu. Above them, in wobbly letters, you held me with your eyes. Thank you. Ethan's vision blurred. He looked at Luna. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She beamed. I drew the rainbow because sadness needs color too. He laughed, choked, wet, real. You're so smart. She nodded solemnly. Mommy says you're trying. Trying is brave. He looked up at Clara. She nodded. Just once. Come in, she said softly. She wants to show you her ballet shoes. He stood, walked inside, didn't touch anything, didn't sit unless invited, just followed. Luna chattered about sequins and spins and how she almost fell but didn't. Clara made tea, didn't offer him a cup, but she didn't tell him to leave. He sat on the edge of the couch, hands folded, listening, watching, being. When Luna ran off to find her stuffed unicorn, Clara handed him a mug. You earned it. He took it. Thank you. Silence. Then, she asked if you'll come to her birthday party. His breath caught. I don't want to push. You're not pushing. She's asking. He looked at her. What do you want? She studied him. I want her to feel safe. I want her to feel loved. I want her to feel whole. If you can give her that without breaking her heart, then yes, you can come. He nodded. I'll do whatever you say, whatever she says. Clara exhaled. Good. That night, after they left, Ethan sat on his floor again, holding Luna's drawing, whispering to the dark. I'm here. I'm staying. I'm learning. However long it takes, however small the steps. I'm not leaving. Not again. Not ever. Because for the first time, he wasn't the man who destroyed. He was the man who was being rebuilt by a little girl in a tutu. He looked up at her, standing in his doorway, barefoot, hair in messy pigtails, eyes wide with hope. You want me to come? She nodded. Mommy said it's okay, if you promise not to cry. He laughed soft, shaky. I'll try. She grinned. And no fancy presents. Just you. His throat tightened. Just me. Yeah. Leo says you're good at bubbles. We need a bubble master. He nodded, solemn. I accept the position. She beamed. Yay. I gotta go. Mommy's making pancakes. She turned, sprinted down the hall, yelling, Mommy! He said yes. Clara appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, but her lips twitched, almost a smile. She's been planning this since last week. Drew 3 versions of the invite. This was the final boss level. He stood, held up the glittery masterpiece. It's perfect. She studied him. You know the rules. I know. No photos. No grand gestures. I arrive at 305. Leave at 500. Stay in the backyard. Don't go inside unless invited. Don't touch them unless they touch me first. She nodded. Good. Silence. Then, she's excited. I can tell. Don't break her heart, Ethan. He met her eyes. I'd rather break my own. She held his gaze. Long, hard. Then just barely nodded. See you Saturday. She turned. Walked away. He closed the door. Leaned against it. Closed his eyes. Whispered, "Thank you." Saturday came too fast. He woke at dawn. Showered twice. Shaved too close, nicked his jaw. Tried on 4 shirts. Settled on a soft gray Henley, no logo, no flash. Just him. Bought balloons. Blue and silver. Not too many. Tied them to his wrist like a child. Brought bubbles, industrial-sized wand, extra solution. Leo's request. And one small gift. Wrapped in silver paper, no tag. Just a note inside. For the girl who taught me how to hold someone with my eyes. He didn't plan to give it. Just wanted to have it. In case. 3:05 p.m. He stood at the gate. Heart hammering. Breath shallow. The backyard was alive. Streamers. Laughter. Tiny voices shrieking. A piñata swinging from the oak tree. Clara stood near the snack table, handing out juice boxes, smiling, relaxed, happy. Luna saw him first. Dropped her cup. Ran. "You came." He crouched. She crashed into him. Arms flung around his neck, tutu brushing his knees, glitter in her hair. He froze. Didn't hug back. Didn't move. Just let her hold him. Because she chose to. Because she wanted to. "I'm the bubble master," he whispered. She pulled back, beaming. "Yes, Leo. He's here. Bubbles time." Leo came sprinting, tackled Ethan's side. "Dude, you brought the big one." Ethan laughed, real loud, startled. Clara watched. Didn't move. Didn't interfere. Just watched. He stood. Unpacked the bubble solution. Dipped the wand. Swung it. A cascade of shimmering orbs floated into the air. Kids screamed. Chased them. Popped them. Laughed. Luna grabbed his hand. "Do it again. Bigger." He did. Again. And again. Until his arms ached. Until the sun dipped low. Until the cake came out, chocolate, rainbow sprinkles, 5 candles. Luna stood on a chair. Closed her eyes. Made a wish. Blow. Clap. Cheer. She looked at him. "I wished for you to come to my next birthday too." His breath caught. He didn't speak. Just nodded. "Please, let me." 5:00 p.m. He packed the bubble wand. Tied the empty balloons to the fence. Washed his hands at the outdoor sink. Walked to Clara. "Time to go." She nodded. "You were perfect. She's magic." "Yeah, she is." Silence. Then, "The gift. It's in my bag. You can give it to her when you think she's ready." Clara studied him. "What is it?" "Just something," she said, written down, so she never forgets how brave she is. Clara's eyes softened. Just a fraction. "Okay." He nodded. Turned to leave. Then Luna ran up, breathless, cheeks pink. "Wait." He stopped. She hugged him, quick, fierce, sticky from cake. "Thank you for the bubbles. And for coming. And for holding me with your eyes." He swallowed hard. "Thank you for inviting me." She pulled back, grinned. "Next year, can we have a Dino piñata?" He laughed. "Only if I get to break it." She whooped. "Deal." She ran off. He walked away, didn't look back. That night, he sat on his floor again, staring at the ceiling, smiling, crying, alive. His phone buzzed. "She won't stop talking about you, Clara." "I'm glad." She asked if you'll teach her to skip stones better. "Anytime." She opened the gift. His breath stopped. "What did she say?" She read it out loud, twice, then hugged it to her chest and said, "He sees me, Mommy. Really sees me." Ethan closed his eyes, pressed the phone to his heart. "I do. I know." Silence. Then, "Come for dinner. Thursday, 6 p.m. Just you. No rules. Just be here." He sat up, heart pounding. "Are you sure?" "No. But she is. And that's enough." He exhaled. "I'll be there." Thursday came. He arrived at 558. Knocked. Clara opened the door. No smile, no frown, just open. They're setting the table. He stepped inside. Smell of garlic. Bread. Home. Leo yelled, "Mister, you're late. We're starving." Luna ran up, grabbed his hand. "You sit by me." He sat, didn't speak, didn't touch anything, just listened, watched, being. Clara served spaghetti, passed the bread, didn't look at him, but she didn't avoid him. After dinner, Leo dragged him outside to test the new flashlight. Luna stayed inside, helped Clara clear plates. Ethan stood to help. "Sit," Clara said. "Guests don't clean." He sat, watched them, mother and daughter. Easy, warm, safe. Luna looked at him. "Mommy says you're learning to be a dad." He nodded. "Trying. It's hard. Yeah, but worth it." She smiled. "Good." Later, walking home, he stopped under the oak tree, looked up at Clara's window. Light on, shadows moving, laughter drifting down. He whispered, "I'm here. I'm staying. I'm learning. However long it takes. However small the steps. I'm not leaving. Not again. Not ever." Because for the first time he wasn't the ghost at the gate. In a gray sweater, sleeves pushed up, hands empty, eyes wide with something she hadn't seen before. Not hope, not fear, not guilt. Resolve. "Can I come in?" She didn't answer right away. Looked past him, at the quiet street, the porch light flickering, the way the wind tugged at his hair like it was trying to pull him back. Then she stepped aside. "They're already in bed." He nodded. "I know. I didn't come for them." She closed the door behind him, walked to the kitchen, didn't offer him coffee, didn't sit, just waited. He stood in the center of her living room, the same room where he'd once argued about adoption papers, where he'd once turned his back on her tears, where he'd once packed his suitcase without a word. Now he looked small. Not physically, he still filled the space, tall, broad-shouldered, but spiritually. Like he'd shed layers. Like he'd emptied himself out to make room for something new. "I need to ask you something," he said, voice low, rough. "And I need you to hear me. Not as the man who left. Not as the tycoon. Just as Ethan. The man trying to be worthy of them." She crossed her arms. "Go ahead." He took a breath. "I want to file for legal paternity." Silence. Thick. Heavy. Her pulse roared in her ears. "Why?" she whispered. "Because I'm their father. Biologically. Emotionally. Spiritually. I don't want them to ever doubt that. I don't want you to ever have to fight for them alone if something happens to me. I want my name on their birth certificates. Not because I'm claiming them, you'll always be their home, but because I'm choosing them. Publicly, legally, forever." She stared at him. "You think a piece of paper makes you their father? No. Showing up does. Staying does. Loving them even when it's hard does. But the paper, it protects them. It gives them rights, inheritance, medical decisions, school pickups, emergency contacts. I don't want bureaucracy to ever make you fight for what's already yours and theirs." She turned away, walked to the window, watched the rain streak the glass. "You could change your mind." "I won't. You said that before." He stepped closer, not touching, just near. "I know, and I was a fool. But Clara, look at me. Really look. Do you see the man who walked out, or do you see the man who skipped stones with Leo until his arm ached, who sat in the back of a recital and cried because his daughter was brave, who showed up to a birthday party with bubbles and left before dessert because you asked him to?" She didn't turn. "I see both. Then let me prove which one I am. Let me sign the papers. Let me go to court. Let me stand in front of a judge and say, these children are mine, not because of DNA, but because I choose them every single day. Let me do this for them. Not for me, not for you, for them." She closed her eyes. "What if the court gives you more than I'm ready for? What if they order shared custody? What if they say you get weekends, holidays, summers? Then we fight it together. You and me. Same lawyer. Same terms. I'll sign any agreement you want. Supervised visits. No overnights. No travel without your approval. I don't care about the schedule. I care about the right to be there when they need me. Even if it's just to hold their hand in a hospital. Even if it's just to sign a permission slip. Even if it's just to be listed as dad on their school forms. Her breath hitched. Why now? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, because Luna asked me last week if I was her real dad. Clara's heart stopped. What did you say? I said, I'm the dad who's learning how to love you the way you deserve. She looked at me, really looked, and said, but are you really my dad, like, on paper? He swallowed hard. I didn't know what to say, so I told her the truth. Not yet, but I'm trying to be. She nodded, like it was enough. But it's not. Not for her. Not for Leo. Not for you. They deserve certainty. And I deserve to earn it. Clara turned, looked at him, eyes glistening. You understand, if you do this, if you file, it's not just paperwork. It's a vow, in front of God and the law. If you walk away after this, if you break their hearts now, I will destroy you. Legally, financially, publicly. I will make sure you never see them again. Not even in a photo. He didn't flinch. I know. You'll have to undergo psychological evaluation, financial disclosure, background checks. You'll sit in a courtroom and answer questions about why you left, why you came back, whether you're stable, whether you're safe. I'll do it. It'll be humiliating. I deserve it. It'll take months. I'll wait. They might ask about the donor. He froze, looked at her. What donor? Silence. Thick, choking. She didn't blink. The eggs, Ethan. They weren't mine. He staggered back like she'd slapped him. What? I couldn't conceive. You know that. The doctors said it was impossible. And it was. The twins, they're yours biologically. But the eggs, they came from a donor. A friend. Sophia. He sank onto the couch, hands shaking. You never told me. You never asked. You walked out before I could. Before I even knew it was possible. He buried his face in his hands. God, Clara, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were still trying. I didn't know you were fighting. I just gave up on you. She walked to him, didn't touch him, just stood over him. Now you know, and now you have a choice. File for paternity and accept all of it. The truth, the mess, the miracle, or walk away, again, and let them grow up wondering why their father didn't want to be real. He looked up, eyes red. I want to be real, however messy it is, however hard. I want to be their dad, on paper, in person, in their hearts. I don't care about the biology of the egg. I care about the soul of the child, and they're mine, in every way that matters. She studied him, long, hard. Then we do it, together. Same lawyer, same terms. You sign everything I put in front of you. No arguments, no ego. You follow my lead. In court, at home, in their lives. You earn the title. You don't assume it. He nodded. I swear. She exhaled. I'll call Sophia tomorrow. She'll connect us with her lawyer. We start next week. He stood, didn't hug her, didn't reach, just bowed his head. Thank you. She nodded. Don't thank me. Thank them. They're the reason you're still here. He looked toward the hallway, where Leo and Luna slept, unaware that their world was about to change. I will, every day, for the rest of my life. Later, after he left, Clara stood in the dark hallway, outside Luna's door, listening to her soft breathing. She whispered, he's going to be your dad, on paper, in truth, in love, and I'll be right here, making sure he stays, making sure you're safe, making sure you never doubt, not for 1 second, that you are loved. By both of us, in our own ways, forever, because the storm wasn't over, but the foundation, it was finally being laid, in ink, in tears, in vows, and in the quiet, trembling hope of a man who'd finally learned, love isn't taken. Clara sat beside him, not touching, not looking at him, just there, solid, steady. Her presence, a silent vow, I'm not letting you break them. Not today, not ever. Across from them, Sophia, calm, sharp-eyed, in a charcoal blazer, legal pad open, pen ready. Their lawyer, Marla Chun, mid-50s, silver-streaked hair, eyes that had seen too many broken families, leaned forward, voice low. Remember, you don't have to answer anything that isn't asked. Stick to the facts. No grand speeches. No guilt. No blame. Just truth. Simple. Clean. Ethan nodded. Understood. Clara didn't speak. Just stared at the double doors at the end of the hallway. Waiting. Judge Eleanor Ruiz entered at 9:07 a.m. Small, stern, silver hair pulled into a tight bun. Eyes that missed nothing. She didn't smile, didn't offer pleasantries. Just sat, opened the file, looked up. Mr. Carter, Ms. Rivers, this is a voluntary petition for establishment of paternity and co-parenting rights. Uncontested. But given the unusual circumstances, I'll be asking detailed questions. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Ethan said, voice steady. Yes, Clara echoed, softer, firmer. The judge nodded. Mr. Carter, you abandoned your wife 5 years ago after learning she was medically unable to conceive. Is that correct? Ethan didn't flinch. Yes, Your Honor. You initiated divorce proceedings without discussion, transferred assets, disappeared. Is that correct? Yes. And yet, 5 years later, you discovered she had given birth to twins. Biologically yours. Conceived via donor egg and IVF. You pursued them, re-entered their lives, and now seek legal recognition as their father. Why silence? Ethan exhaled. Because I was wrong. Because I was selfish. Because I confused legacy with love. I thought fatherhood was about bloodlines and perfection. I didn't understand it was about showing up, even when you're scared, even when you don't deserve it. I saw my children, really saw them, and realized I didn't want to be the man who walked away. I wanted to be the man who stayed, however long it took, however hard it was. The judge studied him. And you, Ms. Rivers, you're agreeing to this petition. Voluntarily. Why? Clara didn't hesitate. Because they asked for him. Because they deserve to know who he is, not the ghost, not the villain, but the man trying to be better. Because legal recognition protects them. Not him, not me, them. Medical rights, school permissions, inheritance, emergency contacts. I'm not giving him my children. I'm giving them a father who's learning to earn the title. The judge nodded slowly. The donor egg. Anonymous Sophia spoke up. Calm. Professional. Known donor. Fully documented. Consent form signed. No parental rights claimed or desired. Medical and genetic records available upon court request. The judge made a note. Mr. Carter, psychological evaluation completed. Yes, Your Honor. Attached as Exhibit C. Cleared for co-parenting. Recommended for continued therapy. Financial disclosures. Submitted. Verified. Child support calculated and agreed upon. Above state minimum. Education trust established. Background check. Clean. The judge looked between them. You've agreed to a parenting plan. Supervised visits for 6 months. No overnights. No travel outside state without mutual consent. Therapy required for all parties, including the children, to ensure emotional safety. Correct? Correct, Clara said. Correct, Ethan echoed. The judge leaned back. Silence stretched. Then, why should I believe you won't walk away again, Mr. Carter? Ethan's breath caught. He looked at Clara, then at the judge. Because I've already lost them once. And it nearly destroyed me. I spent 5 years building empires and feeling nothing. And then, I saw Luna dance. I heard Leo laugh. I held a drawing that said, "You held me with your eyes." And I realized, I don't want money. I don't want power. I want to be the man they run to when they're scared. The man they draw pictures for. The man they call Dad. Not because I demanded it, but because they chose me. I'll spend the rest of my life earning that. Even if it takes forever. The judge held his gaze, then turned to Clara. And you trust him? Clara didn't look at Ethan. Looked at the judge. No, I don't trust him. Not yet. But I trust them. I trust Luna's heart. I trust Leo's joy. I trust that if he breaks their hearts again, I'll be there to put them back together. And I trust the law and this court to hold him accountable. He doesn't get unconditional love. He gets conditional access. And that's enough. For now. The judge nodded, looked down at the paperwork, picked up her pen. Petition granted. Paternity legally established. Parenting plan approved. Supervised visits to commence immediately. Reevaluation in 6 months. Court adjourned. She banged the gavel. One sharp crack, like a door slamming shut, or opening. Outside, the sun was blinding. Ethan stood on the courthouse steps, trembling, blinking against the light. Clara stood beside him. Didn't speak, didn't move. Sophia touched his arm. You did it. He shook his head. We did it. Clara finally looked at him. Eyes unreadable. Don't screw this up. He met her gaze. I won't. She nodded, walked away, didn't look back. That night, Ethan sat on his floor again, holding the court order. His name, next to theirs. Father, he whispered. Sound. Officer, I'm your dad. On paper, in truth, in love. However long it takes, however hard it is, I'm staying. I'm here. I'm yours. Because the storm wasn't over. But the anchor, it was finally dropped. In ink, in law, in trembling, tear-streaked hope. And somewhere, just down the street, 2 small hearts were sleeping. She stood in the doorway of her kitchen, sunlight streaming through the window, Leo chattering about his new Lego spaceship, Luna humming as she colored a unicorn with 7 wings, and the world tilted. She knew what it was, didn't need to open it, didn't need to read the letterhead. Genetic testing laboratories. Final report. Case #PT 8842. Her hands didn't shake. Her breath didn't catch. She just stood, still, quiet, like the moment before lightning strikes. Leo tugged her sleeve. Mommy, can I have juice? She blinked, looked down, smiled soft, automatic. Of course, baby. Apple or orange? Apple, he yelled, already sprinting to the fridge. Luna looked up. Mommy, you okay? Clara walked to the table, set the envelope down, smoothed her sweater. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just thinking. Luna studied her. Too wise for 5. Too quiet. Too much like him. Is it about the tall man? Clara's pulse stuttered. Why do you ask? Luna shrugged. You get quiet when you think about him. Like now. Clara knelt, took Luna's hands. He's not the tall man anymore, baby. He's Ethan. And soon he'll be your dad. On paper, like we talked about. Luna's eyes widened. Really? Really? Will he come to my school play? If you want him to. Luna beamed. I do. Clara kissed her forehead. Then he will. She stood, walked to her bedroom, closed the door, leaned against it, closed her eyes, then slowly opened the envelope. The report was 3 pages. Clinical, cold, precise. She skipped to the conclusion. Probability of paternity 99.998%. Mr. Ethan Carter is the biological father of Leo Rivers and Luna Rivers. Genetic markers confirm direct paternal lineage. She exhaled, didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't collapse, just stared at the numbers, at the words, at the truth. 5 years of silence, 5 years of hiding, 5 years of pretending biology didn't matter when it did, when it always had. She thought of Ethan's face in court, raw, trembling, desperate to be believed. She thought of Leo's laugh so much like his. She thought of Luna's eyes, deep, thoughtful, his. She thought of the nights she'd cried, wondering if they'd ever know their father, wondering if he'd ever want to know them. And now it was real. In ink, in science, in law. He was their father. Not by her grace, not by her mercy, by blood, by DNA, by the universe's stubborn, beautiful design. Her phone buzzed. Did you get it, Ethan? She didn't answer right away. Walked to the window, watched the oak tree sway in the breeze, watched a blue jay land on the branch, watched life Ordinary, beautiful, relentless, go on. Then she typed, yes. 3 dots. Then, are you okay? She smiled. Faint, sad, real. I don't know. Can I come over not to see them? Just to talk. To you. She hesitated. Looked at the report. Looked at the